Hey, good evening, I'm Marcus Lush.
I'm Kim Webby.
Welcome to Newsnight, thanks for joining us. Coming up, we catch up with Super Groove, fresh from the Super Tour.
Cling on to your togs. We get the skin-tight lowdown on tonight's Lycra Fashion Awards.
And an advertising mix-up that almost shocked a nation. First though, our Kim in the news.
A hijacking horror in the central North Island tonight. Armed and dangerous and on the run. That's the man who hijacked a helicopter and its passengers today. He demanded to be flown to Mount Tongariro. And tonight armed defender squads are combing the national park. Philip Burton's been following today's dramatic developments.
Tonight armed police from Wanganui and Rotorua are moving into rugged Mount Tongariro country to try to track down the gunman. Negotiators hope to use a loud hailer. They don't want to get too close, as the man has several high-powered guns with telescopic sights. The drama began about midday near National Park Village. The owner of this chopper was preparing for a top-dressing flight when a gun-wielding man approached him.
Then he says he wanted to fly up the mountain, and I says, oh, it's in the cloud. And then he lifted the shotgun up and pointed at me and says, I want you to fly me up the mountain. So we took him up the mountain.
The man was dropped on the slopes of Mount Tongariro.
We had our lunch with us, so we offered him a cup of tea, and after we'd had that, he says if we gave him our cell phone, he could go.
Earlier tonight, police tried to talk to him on that cell phone, but with no success. They know who he is, but won't reveal much.
We have established that this is somewhat out of character, but he seems to have an obsession with 1080 poison, and he's been very depressed recently.
Tonight, planes are forbidden from flying within a 7-kilometre radius of his position. And the Conservation Department has helped police ensure there are no trampers on the nearby Tongariro saddle walking track. Tonight, as police ponder precisely how they may recapture this gunman, it seems their task may be both difficult and drawn out.
And police across the Tasman are tonight still hunting the callous killer of 2 Queensland girls. The two, aged 9 and 10, disappeared while door-knocking for odd jobs to earn pocket money. Sahai Tiffin reports.
They'd been searching all night. Then at dawn, the father of one of the girls found their partially clothed bodies side by side in the sand dunes near their home.
Viciously murdered. An absolute terrible scene this morning.
The 2 young friends, 10-year-old Leanne Oliver and 9-year-old Patricia Leedy, were last seen knocking on neighbours' doors yesterday afternoon, trying to earn some pocket money.
Yeah, they came around about 3 o'clock and knocked on the door and asked if they had any odd jobs going in the house.
Police believe the girls were sexually assaulted and beaten about the head. A massive ground search is underway, with police appealing for help.
We really need public support to solve this and get these people apprehended before they re-offend.
The seaside community of Warana has been thrown into panic.
I'll be getting quotes today for window bars or security grills.
5 minutes, that's all I'd like when they do get them, 5 minutes.
At this stage, police have no leads.
Back home, a feisty awakening for the French ambassador. Monsieur Leblanc was summoned to Parliament this morning for a please explain over the 3rd nuclear blast. But as Lee Pearson reports, he had some unexpected house guests.
An early morning protest against Saturday's nuclear blast at Mururoa.
Stop it now!
These activists slipped through a back entrance and used a ladder to get to the roof of the French ambassador's residence. They used every way possible to get their message through, including a curbside doorbell.
We've done a dawn chorus for the French ambassador. He doesn't seem to be listening very well.
Eventually, it was time for Ambassador Jacques Leblanc to leave his home. He was heading straight to the Beehive for yet another ticking off from Foreign Affairs Minister Don McKinnon. Leaving after barely a 5-minute meeting, the ambassador was apparently relieved he'd escaped a media frenzy.
All right, Ambassador. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Back at the ambassador's home, the police were moving in. In all, 7 were arrested for breach of the peace.
But freedom tonight for some South Island salmon. Over 4,000 slipped free from a salmon farm, although for some the splash was short-lived. David DeSoma reports.
Usually they talk about the one that got away, but fishers in the Mackenzie country are talking only of the thousands of salmon just waiting to be caught. The sockeye salmon escaped into this canal after a net split while they were being moved from Ohau to Tekapo. At $5 a fish, it's been an expensive problem for the Mount Cook salmon farm. News of their misfortune quickly raced around the local fishing community.
That's pretty good. It's about my first one for the season.
While this trout was spared, many salmon have been caught. One unconfirmed report had one angler taking home 76 fish in one day. By law, fishers are only allowed to catch 2 salmon and 4 trout a day. Mount Cook Salmon is expected to try and recover some of its $20,000 loss. In the meantime, fishers are not complaining. Indeed, they can't believe their luck.
But many Kiwis did believe they were watching an amazing documentary last night. Alas, the TV film Forgotten Silver was not all it seemed. Hewitt Barnsley explains.
Colin Mackenzie had humble beginnings.
The story of pioneer filmmaker Colin Mackenzie and his brother Brooke should have started with Once Upon a Time. The creators of that fairy story, filmmakers Costa Botes and Peter Jackson.
Well, maybe we're a little naughty.
A bicycle-powered camera, thousands of viewers not realising it was a hoax.
No, I didn't.
No, it seemed straightforward, I thought.
My father was doing the owning. He pointed out, nah, this can't be true.
Well, I mean, it's nothing to do with conning people. I mean, you know, we're in the business of filmmaking, and filmmaking's all about illusion, you know.
In this astonishing footage...
But what wasn't an illusion was Forgotten Silver's tribute to all that's creative in the New Zealand character.
Colin represents creativity in adverse conditions, I think, and he represents a kind of indomitable will. He just never gave up, he just kept on trying.
Like swinging around.
Peter Jackson's creating more illusion, a film called The Frighteners. He will try to convince us that humans and ghosts both share the same room. Fat chance.
So, is Newsnight for real, or...?
Did you watch it?
No, I missed
I just thought I'm not going to watch some boring documentary. If I knew it was made up, I would have watched it. But you're not going to get me to watch some documentary with some old film.
War of the Worlds.
You didn't watch it?
No, I missed it.
And now we don't know. We wouldn't know if we could do it or not, could we? Because we know now. What a shame. Hey, still to come, the night of nights for the fabric that dare not speak its name. And none of that Colin Mackenzie stuff. Real film history is made in Wellington.
So many short films around. Thousands and thousands every year. You've got to have a gimmick these days. I mean, gimmick's probably a bad word. You've got to have an angle.
Welcome back, you are with Newsnight. Later on tonight, I'll have the Coke merchandising that's more soft porn than soft drink. And finding out what's up with Supergroove, who flew back into the country today. That's right, that's later. Right now, here's Kim.
Thanks, Marcus. Our filmmakers are busy, and not just making clever hoaxes either. In Wellington at the moment, there are 3 short films in production, and one of them's making local film history. It's about Kiwis in London doing what you do on your big OE. A familiar story, but what's unusual about this film is that it's all one shot. No cuts, no edits, and no chance of fixing it up later. Lotta McVeigh reports from the set of Permanent Wave.
London, Paris, Munich, everybody talk about
The hair, the makeup, and check out the clothes. We must be in the 80s. This is Permanent Wave in production, a 10-minute film set at a party in London. The characters are Kiwis in various stages of their OE.
Another great place is Abu Simbel, yeah, and the Valley of the Kings in Luxor. Okay, when are you off, mate? A couple of weeks. Yep, you'll love it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Actually, make sure you don't get ripped off by any taxi drivers in Cairo, though. They'll rip you off soon as look at you, okay?
I went to London in '88, got to London, went to a friend's place, and it was like there was 5 New Zealanders living in a flat, you know, a 1-bedroom flat, and I sort of, you know, I said to her, you know, do you know any English people? And she said, well, no, not really.
So, do you know many English people? No, not really. I mean, I work with some, but I don't really know them. Not to go drinking with or anything. Actually, I don't really like them.
I thought it was quite amusing when I got there to find that, you know, this woman had travelled 13,000 miles and she may as well have stayed at home.
The film's a slice of life, 10 minutes at a party. But more interestingly, this group of young filmmakers are going out on a limb and doing it all in one take.
What it means doing it in one shot is that everything has to be perfect all at once. And so the lighting has to be right, the camera has to be in the right place, the focus has to be right, the actors have to be in the right place, they have to be saying the right things, and they have to do it in the right way. So it's a bit of a juggling act, really.
We're going to get your positions worked out, we're going to get your marks, we're going to put cameras, get the camera position sorted out, get the lighting level sorted out, so if you can keep relatively quiet while we're doing it, because lighting and camera are going to be screaming at each other. And yeah, just be patient. It's not going to be very exciting, but the excitement is yet to come.
A lot of people have said, you're mad, you're absolutely crazy, I don't know why you're doing it in one shot, but it just seems to work that way. We've had a lot of support because, you know, what we're doing is, it hasn't really been done before in New Zealand.
It's got to help. It's got to help. I mean, so many short films around, thousands and thousands every year. You've got to have a gimmick these days. I mean, gimmick's probably a bad word. You've got to have an angle. And this one, at least it'll have something going for it from the outset, you know, that it's like, well, it's one shot. And that's always something unusual that people want to have a look at.
And action.
Good luck to them, and I, for one, are really looking forward to seeing that.
Should be really interesting.
Yeah, it's easy to see, but I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. Quite exciting.
Definitely. Well, they're not for the flabby or the faint-hearted.
Well, I'm excited.
We're pleased you're excited,
Yeah,
Mike.
well, I am, because sometimes, it's easy to say, oh, well, but that looked like a really worthwhile project, didn't it?
It did.
I like to be quite positive about Wellington, too, because I think that's a good town.
Absolutely, positively Wellington.
Yep,
Auckland's a good town too. It's got these Lycra Fashion Awards, the DuPont Lycra Fashion Awards. You can be excited about those now. They feature figure-hugging fashions that are definitely from the skimpier end of the spectrum. They've become a New Zealand fashion institution, and tonight students from around the country contested this year's awards and provided some startling swimwear, lingerie and sportswear innovations along the way.
Every year, and of course the students who win usually get offered positions as designers with all the companies like your Moon Tides, like your Brian Watches in Australia, Expose, etc.
Never known a girl like you before. Now just like in a song from days of yore.
Hopefully we'll get jobs and people from Moontide will see us and say, oh yeah, she's a good sewer, and that'll be really good.
Well, it proves to the industry that we're out there and we have talent, and you know, we are working hard for it, and this is what we do. So, you know, we're ready to get in there when we can.
Never known a girl like you before. Now just like in a song from days of yore.
It's wonderful getting some recognition for all the hard work we do. I think it's a shame that everyone at Tech can't be here because there's free champagne.
To get recognised, definitely, and just to people, for people to know your name around the streets and things like that, and possibly to even recognise you, and that's the main thing, I think.
Give me just a taste, so I want more. Now my hands are bleeding and my knees are raw. 'Cause now you got me crawling on the floor.
Manufacturers are here from across the industry. So, I mean, they look and say, ooh, I like that. Who did that? They're all making little notes. And they rush out and grab the girl.
Never known a girl like you before. Never known a girl like you before.
And that last outfit won both the Lifestyle and Supreme Award for Charlene Williams.
Hey, after the break, Tales of the Big City, we catch up with Supergroove's Carl Stevens, fresh from 9 months' adventure overboard, including the odd customs horror story.
A drummer got the most heavily exposed to that on the way back into New Zealand this morning. He had to strip down to his credentials and...
Get your...
Orson Welles' radio play War of the Worlds caused panic in the USA on this day in 1938. The Fonz, Henry Winkler, is 50 today, and Fyodor Dostoevsky was born on this day in 1821.
Scorpio, Orpio girls, you're with Newsnight. Now, after beating the New Zealand market in submission with their mega-selling album Traction, Supergroove left our shores early in the year to take on the world. I caught up with singer Carl Stevens just hours after the band flew home earlier today, armed with duty-free and tales of fear and loathing in the big wide world. Carl, thanks for going away and coming back and dressing like me. How was it?
It was great. Yes, took a long time and there were ups and downs, but it was good.
How much would you pay not to do it all again?
I would stake my life on it.
On not doing it again?
Yep,
okay.
And I wouldn't recommend it to anyone.
You've been gone 8 months?
Yeah, 8 or 9 months. We went kind of...
Because you left after the music awards, right? You won,
yep.
You cleaned up here, then you buggered off.
We sure did. We raped and pillaged and ran. And then we did Australia, Malaysia, Korea, Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong, did I say India? Yeah. And then kind of went to Europe, Austria, Switzerland, France, Italy, Germany, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, England, blah, 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 blah. But basically, yeah, anywhere you could see on a map, any seedy little dive of a venue, apart from Iceland.
Tell us about some celebrity meetings.
Celebrity meetings. Well, I slept in the same bed as Björk only a week later.
Yeah, that's good, eh? That's good.
That's the closest. And we saw Nick Cave and Kylie Minogue.
They like dating?
Once. It looks like it.
Really?
Yeah, but she was so drunk she couldn't speak. And yeah, and who's just great to be working with Kylie.
Did the band like have a lot of romantic encounters?
Well, over 9 months, a bunch of virile single men. I suppose there was a lot for us.
Was it a bit of a level playing field for you? Because you guys are right stars here. Over there, no one knows. You know, you go out to the Mall to meet some ladies and no one knows who you are. Was that difficult?
Yeah, it was a level playing field. And in fact, it was like almost they dug a little ditch for us in the playing field that we could stumble over as we tried to climb out of.
So they were disadvantaged in the shag stakes?
Yes, extremely crippled, in fact. Completely crippled.
Who won?
The drummer again. Yeah, he's our sex, drugs and rock and roll man.
What would his tally have been?
We asked him once and he couldn't. It's beyond numerical value.
Can't get enough, can't get enough, no. Can't get enough, can't get enough, no.
Much trouble with the fuzz?
Much trouble with the fuzz, only the French fuzz. They tend to nab you on the way out of France and give you the full search, the cavity kind of deal. But our drummer got the most heavily exposed to that on the way back into New Zealand this morning. He had to strip down to his credentials and they checked to see if he had any beverages on him.
Did they look up his date?
No, they didn't actually look up his date, but they just kind of got him butt naked shaking in the little cold room.
Which makes sense, because he would have been most likely to be carrying, wouldn't he?
Yeah, damn straight. Yeah.
Which shows a good thumbs up for New Zealand Customs, eh?
Yeah. On the money.
Did you rock the world?
I would say we touched it. We touched it.
Is it like...
With the potential to rock.
It's ready to go back and rock next time, rock full on? Or?
Yeah, I think we made small ripples, almost imperceptible, but they're there nevertheless.
And jet setters that they are, Supergroove are only back in town for a few days, after which they'll be flying out to Australia for a couple of weeks of touring. And the record company tells us there should be a remix CD and a singles collection out before Christmas. Great. Now tonight's information boat ramp. Local band The Nixons are currently in the States under the assumed name ITV, which may be due to the great reverence American holds for the late former president, or maybe not. But it seems the band have been lapped up by the Yanks beyond their wildest dreams. They have been recognised as rock stars by loony fans on a San Francisco bus, invited to and did dine free at one of the city's best restaurants. They've been begged for autographs at shows and had a gig forcibly extended when some bearded biker type went round the crowd with a bucket collecting cash from punters who'd already paid once to bribe them into playing longer. And in case you're a tad envious or would like to whip the pretty little head off a tall poppy or two, the tour has had its downside as well. They played in San Jose. Do you know the way to San Jose? I would have played that. They played in San Jose for the princely sum of $5, American dollars. They say things go better with Coke, but I bet Coca-Cola didn't expect this sort of raunchy carry-on. Some graphic designer almost got away with a whopper on the Coca-Cola company recently. This advertising cardboard standy-uppy thing was distributed around Australia recently before anyone at Coke caught on. And this little jolly jape down around the ice cubes on the right-hand side. If you can spot the... Oh, yes, that's almost subliminal. Can we have it again? Just a quick look again. Go on, go on. Yeah, please, please. Okay, can't nag. And I'm afraid you're just too late if you've missed that, you two little perverts. There are coffee bars, booze bars, sushi bars, and in Beijing there are thin air bars. For a colossal sum, young Beijingers go to Dreamland Bar for a breath of fresh air. There are several different varieties of air on the menu, including peppermint and mineral enriched. Ooh, but they probably keep the hard stuff behind the counter. That's tonight's Infram. Here's Kim with tomorrow's pageant that is the weather.
Thanks, Marcus. Well, wet air report might be a better name for the weather. Gisborne's the only place in the north to escape the rain. Most other centres get a drenching. So Gisborne's tomorrow's winner with 20, while Wellington cops the low with 16. The south looks more promising, but Christchurch is due for rain late in the day. Nelson's warm on 17, while Invercargill's cool on 11.
Hey, tomorrow's show, Macho, Sex Gods or Girly Wannabes, we check out a university study on the men who strut their stuff in the hard rock music vids.
It's also important because then we can be more aware of how males are just as stereotyped as females within these sorts of videos, rather than just picking on female portrayals.
That sounds serious, but there's rock chicks as well, you know.
There are rock chicks and there's rock gods. And, yeah, that's it from us.
It is.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Wednesday on 2.